Government developing program to expand and manage the country's infrastructure. National Partnership Council names 3 subcommittees and contract signed for $1 billion sewage project in Port Antonio. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government will be taking a closer look at the management and approval process for developments on the island. This after receiving preliminary reports Sunday on the effects of 2 days of rain which lashed the country. The Prime Minister says reports show that flooding across several communities is as a result of the inability of the island's drain network to handle the large volumes of water associated with the weather system. Mr. Holness, meanwhile, has mobilized the National Works Agency and state agencies in parishes impacted by the heavy rains, namely Clarendon, Portland and St. Thomas. On Thursday, the Prime Minister co-chaired a meeting of the National Partnership Council, where the members of 3 working groups were named. They are the working group committees to deal with rule of law and justice reform, violence against women and children, and the environment. Howard Mitchell chairs the Rule of Law and the Reform of the Justice System Committee. Dr. Marcia Forbes helms the working group dealing with gender-based violence, while Diana Macaulay chairs the Environment Group. The groups are expected to prepare periodical reports which will provide recommendations for each area of focus. And while at the National Partnership Council meeting, Prime Minister Holness shared that baseline work for the Special Security Operation Zones have started, even as the legislation goes through Parliament. He says the Police Commissioner has been instructed to begin the process of identifying members of the force who can act as area commanders so that they can receive adequate training in human rights, the powers they will have, and how to act in their zones.
We are taking a 360-degree view of the entire Jamaican landscape, our economy, our society, and our infrastructure, all with a view towards sustainable development.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness welcoming the new air traffic control tower at the Norman Manley International Airport last Wednesday. The $10 million Canadian tower is part of government's air navigation modernization program to enhance safety, efficiency and reliability of its air navigation services.
We can't have development happening in a lopsided way. We can't have development happening in some areas and then other areas are neglected. So the good fiscal management of public resources require that the government ensures that whatever funds that are under the public domain, under public management, are available for the whole development of government.
By Wednesday afternoon, Prime Minister Holness was in Manchester to unveil the restored Curvy Home for former Army men and women. The home currently accommodates 13 residents, most of whom are over 70 years old. The project is part of initiatives under the National Housing Trust's 40th anniversary. Other partners include the Jamaica Defence Force and the Jamaica Legion.
We owe them our freedom. We must practice kindness and we must lead by example. We must be each other's keeper. We must show how much we love our beloved country, Jamaica, by loving our neighbors and loving those who labored for us.
With the renovations, the Curvy Home can now house 35 residents. In the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, a contract was signed for the second phase of the Port Antonio Water, Sewage and Drainage Project in Portland. Worth just over $1 billion, the 16-month project will see to the construction of a sewage plant to serve the entire Port Antonio area. 500 residential and commercial properties are expected to be impacted. Minister without portfolio Dr. Horace Chang says the initiative will protect the environment while accommodating the expansion of the town as a tourism haven.
Objective is therefore to reduce contamination of the groundwater in the Port Antonio area, improve service levels to customers in the Anchovy Gardens community, improve the quality of life for the citizens of Port Antonio and surrounding environment, replace and upgrade the malfunctioning wastewater treatment plant at Anchovy, ensure that the treatment of a sewage received by the Anchovy wastewater treatment plant is within the acceptable levels prescribed by our environmental regulators, NEPA and the Ministry of Health, so as to minimize any adverse impact on the environment and any risk to public health.
The project is being undertaken by the National Water Commission with loan funding from the Inter-American Development Bank. And that's it for this week's Jamaica House Weekly. We return next time with more of the news coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.